Did you know 1 out of 6 adults will one day experience anxiety or depression? According to the CDC, depression and anxiety affect about 16 million American adults every year. With this being said, knowing what the side effects look like can maybe help you encourage someone you know who is struggling to get help. Let's begin with what exactly depression and anxiety are. Depression is the feeling of being sad or uninterested in normal day-to-day tasks. Feeling hopeless or unmotivated or useless are just some of the many feelings that someone may feel while battling this disease. Anxiety, however, is the feeling of being constantly worried or feeling nervous about things that haven't even happened yet. You're constantly overthinking every move you make. For example, a normal person would asking a question, it comes naturally to them, but a person with anxiety, they go through all of the worst case scenarios that could come with asking that question, which holds them back from asking a question, and it could possibly hold them back from information that they possibly needed. According to the CDC, depression and anxiety go hand in hand, meaning that if you have one, it's very common that you're dealing with both. Now that we understand what it's like to have depression and anxiety, let's get into what causes it. To answer this question has a variety of answers, since depression and anxiety can be triggered by many things. Depression can be triggered by things like traumatic life events, like the loss of a loved one, a divorce, abuse, family problems, or it could be caused by just simple genetics. The reasons behind depression vary in person to person, and no case of depression is exactly the same, and the battle for everyone is different. Many triggers for depression can also be triggers for anxiety. For instance, when losing a loved one, you have so many feelings going on in your head. You're mourning, and then you can also be stressed out because you're trying to figure out the cost of the funeral, you have paperwork, and you're just trying to figure out what to do with all of their belongings. This causes stress, and stress is the number one cause of anxiety according to Beyond Blue. The other leading causes for anxiety include the use of drugs, side effects of medicine, and any kind of stress-causing factor. With that being said, with many different versions of anxiety and depression, it is very common to experience at least one day in your life. Now we know what anxiety and depression are and what can cause them, but now you wonder, how can you get help for them? Getting help for yourself or someone you may know is always the first big step on your road to recovery. There are many different ways to get help. Talking is the first step, and it is one of the biggest steps. Letting people know what you're going through is huge. Having the support keeps you encouraged and reminds you of exactly why you were trying to get better. Depression and anxiety have similar roads to recovery that may include therapy or even medicine. So let's break it down. Therapy is the most common treatment. A lot of people, they hesitate going to a therapist because they don't want to tell a stranger their problems. But therapists specialize in helping people, and they are there to help you fight your fight. Along with therapy, most people dealing with depression and anxiety are sometimes put on medicine. They go hand in hand with each other. They feed off of each other. Medicine helps alter the mind's way of thinking through situation. It introduces those chemicals that your body is lacking, and helps with your serotonin and dopamine. Being on medicine and going to therapy does not mean that you are all better. Some days are better than others, and the road to recovery is full of ups and downs, but there is hope for better days. It is much easier said than done, but recovery from anxiety or depression is possible. If you are struggling with what may seem like symptoms or side effects of depression and anxiety, there are many ways to reach out for help. You are never alone in your battle, and you can always talk to somebody. As Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson once said in one of his past interviews, "It took me a long time to realize it, but the key is to not be afraid to open up. Especially us dudes have a tendency to keep it in. You're not alone." The more we know about depression and anxiety, the more likely we as a society are to help ourselves and others live a happier life. Thank you.